This isn't going to be as gangbusters as it was during our Adamas versus Kim
That was a tough one.
head battle that we did. This is going to be a little different. It's going to be we're picking between two first basemen on short contracts. The idea that they would sign a short deal because we have Bryce Eldridge coming up, and we're hopeful that he's going to be the future first baseman. He may need 2 years. He may only need 1 year. Or, as we saw with Damon Minor, he may need all of the years because, these prospects don't always fulfill. Though I would say Bryce Eldridge is a much higher value prospect than Damon Minor was.
Yeah.
Those two players are going to be Christian Walker and Paul Goldschmidt. Now, I think most people would say Christian Walker hands down. And if you are just saying who's the better player, I think that's an easy one. Christian Walker definitely had the better season last year. We can quickly compare them. Goldschmidt was 22 jacks, 65 RBI, very unlike Goldschmidt on base, slugging also way down. OPS plus was under that 100 mark. For Christian Walker, 26 jacks, 84 RBI, OBP of 335. So not great, but above his career average. Slugging 468, also above his career average at the age of 32, 33. And his OPS 803, OPS plus 121. Goldschmidt is going to be 37 at the start of the season. So he's 4 years older than Christian Walker. Now, so like I said, easy pick here. There is something though, which is Walker's projected contract is 2 for $44. So if you sign Walker, you are signing him with the idea that he's going to play for 2 years and maybe not play first. Maybe he DHs. He doesn't only have to play first base. For Goldschmidt, it is less of an investment. He has him 1 for $15 million. So the average is a little bit higher, but it's because it's only a 1-year deal. By the way, Jock Peterson, 1 for 16. You could bring good old Jock back. But who do you want? Let's say that those values are real.
Right.
Would you sign Christian Walker at 2 for 44 with the idea that maybe you don't even need him in that second year? Or do you go for somebody like Goldschmidt and 1 for 15?
Obviously, I think my choice is going to be Christian Walker if you can get him for 1. If you could get him for 2 and you have to move him to DH the second season or move him in the off season, I mean, you could do that as well because he's only got 1 year. What was it? 2 for what?
44.
2 for 44. It's kind of a big contract to move. If he didn't have a great off season, then you got to move a guy for $22 million. If those were the two offered contracts, I might go with Paul Goldschmidt. And I didn't think when you said the two names, I thought there's no way in hell I'm going for Goldschmidt.
Yeah, Goldschmidt, you're just like, ugh.
I mean, he's a former Gold Glover, right?
He's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame, or he's going to be if he has another 1 or 2 years, he's going to get over 400 home runs.
Yeah, and so, but again, if you want to hit a lot of home runs to get to that 400 home runs, you're not coming to Oracle Park. You're going back to Arizona.
No, yeah, 100%. You know what's really interesting? Do you know that Goldschmidt won the MVP just 2 years ago?
Was it just 2 years ago? Interesting.
2022, he hit 35 jacks, 115 runs batted in, slugged almost 1,000 in 2022. And he is a runner-up for the MVP 2 times, all the way back to 2013 when he was with Arizona. And then again in 2015 with Arizona. And then he was third place in MVP in 2017 with Arizona. And he really never, I mean, he had good seasons in St. Louis, but nothing like the 2022 season. And just the last 2 years, he's fallen off fairly dramatically too. I mean, it's not like he still played the same amount of games last year as he did the previous season, but his WAR went from 3.4 to 1.3, and then his OPS plus went from 120 to 98, and that was coming off of a season in which he had a 177 OPS plus while winning the MVP. So I don't know what happened. I mean, it could be just age, 35, 36 year seasons just fell off the radar. The reason I would pick Walker is I think he's probably aging slightly better. He is a little bit younger, and I think his power would hold up a little bit better in our park. But another thing, and this is very interesting, is he also plays Gold Glove defense. So that is an interesting wrinkle to what Buster Posey may want. By the way, Paul Goldschmidt last won his Gold Glove in 2021. So not like he's a poor defender. But right. You kind of wonder about that, and just the idea that, if we're looking to, make the defense even better. So I don't think there's a winning I don't think there's a winning guess here on our end. I like Walker a little bit better. Goldschmidt, you get worried when you see the production go down as quickly as it has with him, because it could go down to like nothing next year. But
and I don't think at first base you're gonna get a guy like Pete Alonso for 1 year. You know what I mean? Because I don't think he has anything to prove. I think Christian Walker absolutely has something to prove. So I think you can get him for 1 year, and you're going to get 1 year for Paul Goldschmidt, because it's going to be am I going to retire after this year type of contract. So I think if you can talk Christian Walker into a 1 year deal, I am like 80% on that side then.
Or a I've always 1-1 like they've been doing. Maybe he's got
exactly. I've always liked Christian Walker. I think he's a fun baseball player. The guy crushes the baseball. I'm just looking. They're both right-handed bats.
Alonso and Christian Walker had almost identical seasons last year. Alonso had a little bit more home runs. Walker's average was a little bit better. Walker's defense is definitely better. So they were pretty close to competition wise. They're pretty close to the same player. Alonso projected, according to Britain, 5 for 140. So he probably did lose a little bit of value throughout the season.
Sure. Oh yeah, I think he did. But I also think you look at a guy like that and you stick him in. I mean, Arizona's got a first base position open, and you stick a guy like him at first base in Arizona, he's back to hitting 40 home runs, no problem. So
that's the problem when you can't say that about the Giants, because nobody outside of Barry Bonds and maybe a little bit of Pablo Sandoval, though how many home runs did Pablo Sandoval possibly lose playing at Oracle? Belt and Belt probably is a 30 jack guy, not playing in Oracle. So
that's where the scouting GM comes into play. We have to draft well.
Yeah.
Because you got to get a Bryce Eldridge. You got to draft a Bryce Eldridge, because you're not going to go out and entice somebody like that to come to your team. Let's say he becomes a 40 home run guy. You're not going to go out and be like, "Hey, Pete Alonso, come to our ballpark, and instead of hitting 40, hit 32 a year."
Yeah. There was a stat I sent you today that Michael Conforto led the National League in road home runs.
Yeah.
Which I would have never guessed that if someone asked me that question. He would have been so far off my radar in answering. But it
What did
shows
he
you
hit? He hit 17?
17 home runs on the
17.
road.
Golly.
Yeah. Which
I
is
would have never
amazing
thought.
because it just shows you how hard of a time he had hitting in this park. So
Yeah, for sure.